right. They're dead.
That's it.
They're all dead.
Not coming back.
Never.
They're gone. Not forgotten, because, well, we talk about them.
That's
yeah,
right.
because that's what we do.
That's what we do here on another fabulous episode of
All My Favorite People
Are Dead.
They are. You know what?
Yeah.
They are. And you know what about dead men, right?
They tell no tales.
Yeah.
I know.
Puppies have tails.
Well, we have a puppy walking around today.
On my lap.
He's on your lap. Hello,
Yeah.
Java.
Today's guest will be my grand dog.
Java.
He's licking the microphone.
Hold on.
and he's a good
Hold
boy.
that pose,
Oh,
Java.
she wants to take a picture.
Hold that, Java.
This is going to be our next
Java.
Look at him.
Java's like, no paparazzi. No. Java.
Paparazzi.
Java.
Oh. Anybody wants to see that picture, you could go to our TikTok page or
our Facebook. We'll put this on Facebook.
all right,
for sure.
Up on
Java.
Facebook.
Java.
I'm Sue Teresi. I'm Java's grandma,
And I'm Shannon Butler. I want to take Java home with me.
and he's such a good boy.
He's such a good boy. He wants to come up on my lap now.
So pull your chair back. He'll jump on your lap.
You go to jump up. Come on.
There you go. Yeah, he loves people, and he is such a good boy.
Hi, Java. Oh, babe, you can be kissing.
Do you want to talk into the microphone?
Java, do you have
You want to talk about somebody?
words of wisdom for our
Wait,
audience?
you want to talk
Java?
about Bolto or other doggies we've
Rin Tin
covered?
Tin.
Rin Tin Lassie.
Wishbone?
Yeah, okay. No, he's had enough.
Okay.
He's had enough.
All right, so if you guys are hearing jingling, that's just Java.
That's his jingle bells.
That's Java. He's not a big barker, though.
No,
He's not.
no, he's really not, unless you get near me or my daughter.
Right.
Or you try to deliver, or you come near the house, or you look like a cat.
Oh, no.
No, he loves the cats, actually. We think
He's about the size of a cat.
we think he's suffering from the ugly duckling syndrome. In other words, he sees cats all the time.
Yeah.
And he says, that must be me. Because that's all he sees. That's his frame of reference usually. He's like, I must see cats. I must be a cat.
Java.
So he'll start meowing. Yeah, he does. He meows once in a while.
We don't care what you are, Java. We love
He's
you
great.
just the way you are.
He's great.
Speaking of loving you just the way you are,
Yeah.
in recent episodes we've covered some pretty weird shit, right?
We have? I haven't noticed. Really? You and me?
Some weird shit,
Yeah, that's what we do. We tell people things no one else is going to tell them.
Cheating deaths, a couple of murders, a suicide.
People who died during sex.
Horrible obituaries,
Crazy women children serial killers.
We've talked about some weird shit.
Some very weird, but truth is stranger than fiction.
So I thought this week we should talk about someone more uplifting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
More uplifting than the children serial killers or the crazy people going around doing crazy stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is going to be nice.
I think, this person is actually legitimately is one of my favorite dead people. Like,
Okay.
legit.
Okay.
Honestly, the way the world is kind of fallen to shit right now.
Yeah.
I feel like we could use him again. Like, we need to resurrect him.
Or someone like him. We need
somebody like him.
Yeah.
Oh, when I went, my boyfriend and I went to see the documentary about him. After the documentary ended, and both of us were like pretty much in tears.
Yeah.
I was like, this world needs Eleanor Roosevelt and Fred Rogers. Well, Fred Rogers is who we're talking about today.
Now, I grew up watching him, as I'm sure you did also,
I did.
right?
Sure.
I mean, I remember as a little girl, he was like my neighbor, all kidding aside.
That was going to be my first question. Did you watch him, girl?
I watched him, because it was just the bestest thing ever. And then I watched it as an adult with my children.
Sure, yeah.
Because you want him to be your neighbor.
Yeah.
You want him to be part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You want to emulate everything that was good, that he stood for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I remember distinctly watching it and wanting my children to watch it as well.
Yeah.
What can you say? You can't say a bad word about Fred Rogers?
Well, I was going to say Fred fucking Rogers, but he wouldn't want me to say that.
I don't think so.
He wouldn't want
he
no.
was, he wasn't as vulgar as you and me.
No.
You and I like sailors on leave, but
I'm going to try to limit my potty mouth for this episode. No promises.
okay.
No promises.
No
though.
F-bomb. Yeah, okay.
I
I don't believe you, but
no, it's
okay.
It's a matter of time, really. But
Okay, yeah, but
for Fred Rogers' sake, I'm going to try to.
we'll try to keep it clean.
I'm going to try to keep it clean. Okay, we're ready to talk about Mr. Rogers.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Won't you be my neighbor? Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Java, will you be my neighbor? Java's like, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, all right.
If you have food.
You got food? You got treats? You got snacks? You got toys? Okay. Fred McFreely Rogers was born on March 20th, 1928 in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. His family, they were actually quite wealthy. He didn't really struggle financially as a kid. His father was a successful businessman. He owned a brick-making company.
Okay.
And his mother, actually, she wanted to study to be a doctor, but she decided to go ahead and volunteer at local hospitals instead. And she also knitted sweaters for soldiers during World War I. Actually, funny side note, his mother knitted all the sweaters that he wore in the show.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I remember those sweaters.
Absolutely.
And I referred to them. Many years ago, I worked with a guy, and I was like, the guy with the Mr. Rogers sweaters, that became like a thing. I'm like, really? That guy?
That guy.
Yeah, he became known as the guy with the Mr. Rogers sweaters, but I did not know his mommy knitted them.
Yep, she knitted them for him.
Well, that's very nice.
It is nice. Now, he apparently had a very lonely childhood, strangely enough. He was very shy. He had every childhood disease known to
he was sickly, right?
Yeah, he even had scarlet fever, which is wild. He spent a lot of time playing alone and with puppets, hence his use of them later on TV. He admitted that he was fat as a kid.
Okay.
He said that he was really overweight, he was sickly, he had asthma. They called him Fat Freddy, the kids around him, because kids are dicks.
Kids can be cruel.
They can be. So he endeavored to fix the problem and get in shape, which he did, mostly by swimming. He swam every morning of his life for the next 50 years.
Just like me. Not a word. Not a word.
Woman!
Not a word.
Not
a word.
You do not.
Not a word.
No.
Not a word.
Actually, no. I did kind of think about that when I was reading about his swimming practices, and I'm like...
Yeah, Sue needs to do that.
Sue needs Mr. Rogers in more ways than I thought.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Anyway.
He'll be my swimming neighbor.
You'd have to save your ass. Now, his goal was to always weigh 143 pounds, which he pretty much remained his entire life after...
It's a pretty specific weight.
And there's a reason for that. He said that the numerology, right, 143, meant I love you. Based down on the amount of...
the letter number coordination?
Yeah. 1, 4, 3. I love you. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
The amount of letters in each word, yes. So, crazy. And that's how...
I wonder what the numbers would be, and I want a donut. Because that's going to be my numerology.
No, I don't think
I want a chocolate donut. And whatever that adds up to, that's going to be my weight.
I don't see that in your future.
Okay, just saying.
Okay. By the time he was in high school, he was looking pretty fly, actually. He looked at the picture of him as a young...
When he was younger, yeah.
He actually signed up for the Army when he was about 20 years old.
Right.
But he never served because he couldn't pass the physical for some strange reason. I'm like...
Because he didn't weigh enough.
Yeah, probably. So there were these rumors years ago that Fred Rogers was a sniper in the Marines.
Okay, I heard that.
Yeah.
That is not truth?
No.
I heard, now, again, I'm not prone to rumors.
Okay.
But he would wear the long sleeves to cover up all the tattoos.
I was going to talk about that later.
From all the sniper kills he got, and that's all BS, right?
That's all BS.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
So this is how rumors get started, but that's what I had originally thought, too. I was like, oh, he's a badass.
And actually, I was reading I did a little more research as to where the hell that rumor came from. There actually was a sniper in the Marines whose name was Fred Rogers, and that's why that came about.
Oh,
yeah.
So there was a badass sniper, Fred Rogers, but not
our
him.
Fred Rogers, right? Yeah. He actually, I think he had tried to start a website like FredRogers.com or something, but it was taken down immediately because everyone's like, no, you can't do that. Like, not our Mr. Rogers.
Wow. That poor other guy, though.
Yeah,
He's like, look what I did. I'm a total badass.
Right.
And I got beat out by the sweater guy.
The sweater guy.
Yeah, wow. Poor guy. Okay.
So instead of serving in the military, he went to college, and he studied at Rawlings College, which is also where he met his wife, Joanna Bird. Now, they got married in 1952 and had 2 sons, James and John. Now, he wanted to go to the seminary to become a minister. Mm-hmm. But in 1951, he experienced television for the first time. Mm-hmm. But he thought it was stupid. He thought it was harsh. He thought it was a terrible waste of what could be a great educational tool.
Okay.
So he held off on going to the seminary and began working for television at first. He started out in NBC in New York and then returned home to Pittsburgh in 1953, where he joined up with WQED and worked on a show called The Children's Corner. Mm-hmm. This is actually where Daniel the Striped Tiger first appears.
Puppets, yeah.
Yeah. But particularly Daniel shows up there first. Now, while he was working on this show, he then decided to take some classes at the Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. Right, so now he's going on to become a minister, which he did. He became an ordained minister in the Presbyterian Church in 1963. Now, one of his friends said that his theology, which was based on Christianity, was love your neighbor and love yourself. But he said, quote, you don't need to speak overtly about religion in order to get a message across. So he wasn't, well, he was a minister, and you can tell he speaks, there's a very godlike presence to about his way of looking at things.
Yeah, he's got a spiritual.
But he's not crazy, in
your face about
right.
it. He's
right.
Right.
But is your dog puking?
No.
Oh, no. You're just having a hiccup frenzy there, buddy? You okay? All right.
Yeah, he's chewing the bowl.
Sorry. All right. Anyway, he wanted to focus on the needs of children and their overall development. He would spend some time in the University of Pittsburgh's Child Development Program, sort of as a graduate student. He had a breakthrough when visiting a nursery, where he began to connect with children by finding out what they wanted to know.
Okay.
What they had to say, what they were thinking, what they were concerned about, what made them feel safe, right? A neighborhood, perhaps? Now, during the next couple of years, he would be on different networks with different shows, including up in Canada. He was on a Canadian show up there. But it was actually, of course, the famous show that we know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which would end up having over 895 episodes, and it officially began in 1968.
Okay.
The design, layout, and style of the show remained the same from the 60s all the way until 2001, when it ended. Huh. In that first year of the show's airing in Pittsburgh, they had a little event called Mr. Rogers Day. And at first, the people who worked on the show, they're like, nobody's going to come out to this thing. This is stupid. It's a kid's show, you know. But on the morning of the event, there were families lined up for blocks in Pittsburgh just to get a chance to see Mr. Rogers.
Aww.
It was that moment he knew he was a hit.
Sure.
Now, Fred had always had it clear that he really didn't, he hated television. He really did.
But it's a necessary evil to get a message across. I get that.
But, educational television, that kind, it wasn't, they weren't trying to sell shit to kids, right? This is what he believed in.
It's a teaching tool.
Exactly, yeah. However, this was also the kind of television that was in the most jeopardy, since it relies heavily on charity and public funding, right? So in May of 1969, Mr. Rogers had to testify in front of the Senate Subcommittee on Communications as Nixon was cutting the funding for public broadcasting.
Oh.
He had to speak in front of Senator John Pastore, a sour puss if there ever was one. I mean, just pretty intense. He already had every intention of not giving PBS the money that they needed. He was going to cut their budget down to $10 million. That was the plan. But when Rogers came up and spoke, which, by the way, if you've never seen Mr. Rogers speak at this Senate subcommittee, look it up.
Okay.
It's like 7 minutes long. It's on YouTube. It's actually, I think it's on his Wikipedia page, too.
Okay.
It's 7 minutes long, and it's very powerful. I was watching a piece on YouTube the other day about the power behind his words in this speech. It's he's not arguing, right?
He's just stating facts for children's public education.
He connected with Pastore. Because Pastore had been a pain in the ass the entire committee meeting. Like, he was very clear that I'm not giving you guys any more money. We're taking the money away. Very clear. But then when Rogers got up there,
he persuaded him to see something different.
He's like, I trust you. Mr. Rogers was saying, I trust you to understand that, the children need these programs. And he was kind of connecting, like bringing him down on a different level.
Wow.
It's really powerful. And by the end of the 7 minute long speech, Pastore said, quote, I think that's wonderful. Well, looks like you just earned your $20 million.
Wow. Just like that.
Yeah.
He just turned around.
7 minutes of just calm reflection and connecting to the senator.
He convinced him to overturn his initial thought to defund the children's education. He's like, oh, never mind, here you go.
Not only he increased PBS. He was in 7 minutes. He was able to increase
That's amazing.
the budget.
I got to look that up.
Yeah, from $9 million, they ended up getting $22 million.
I got to see what he said because that's the same thing I'm going to bring up to my employers.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
You know that
why I need more money in my paycheck.
why I need a raise.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful. Now, in the very first year of the show, one of the major events that occurred was the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And Mr. Rogers had the nerve to tackle this issue with Daniel the Tiger. Right.
On the show.
Right.
Okay, I don't remember that.
The Daniel the Tiger is sitting there and goes, "What's an assassination?"
Oh,
Right,
okay.
right
Just
there.
like that.
Just
Okay.
like that. Rogers said that he felt that he needed to talk to the children about grief and handling nasty situations. He knew that you had to listen to kids and hear what they wanted, right, before you could get any messages across to them, right? And you know this as an educator.
As a teacher.
You know. If you have ever watched Mr. Rogers, there are quite a lot of moments during the show. He points out he what's the word? He waits a lot in his shows. Like there's a lot of quiet time in the show, like
Thinking time.
Thinking time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's this one episode where he literally just has like this timer and he's like, let's see how long a minute is. And they just set the timer for a minute and they just quietly sit there.
Yeah, quiet time.
For a minute. Like, okay. Mm-hmm. I don't think I could be quiet for a minute unless I'm asleep.
You and I, people like you and I have trouble with that.
We do.
But, yeah.
So he also broke the racial barrier.
That I remember.
Right? With Francis Clemens.
The guy, if I remember correctly, I don't know if the guy was his mailman or
Police officer.
Police officer.
Yeah.
I remember a uniform.
Yep.
And it was a hot day.
Yep.
And they roll up their pant legs and they're like in a little waiting pool together.
That was 1969.
It was, okay.
Yeah. At a time when Black Americans were being
Segregation.
kicked out of pools with chemicals and things, shit like that.
Segregation, and here are two adult people
Yep.
just enjoying a warm summer day.
Yep.
You know, I remember that. I don't think I saw it in '69, obviously, but I do remember seeing, reruns and I must have seen it with my kids or whatever.
This was Rogers' way of telling the society that they were fucking wrong.
And I didn't see anything. I didn't realize it was a thing until later.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like, oh yeah, two people are cooling off on a hot day.
No, it was really a thing.
It was a
at
big
the time.
deal.
Yeah.
It was a big
Because when
deal.
he aired this, there were things on the news of, those...
Segregation. Yeah. White and black separation. And so how did it go over? How was it? They didn't ask him to remove it, or they didn't want him to remove it from the airwaves.
No, it was just...
But I remember that.
Quietly
And I
sitting
thinking
there.
it was a big deal until later on finding out it was a big deal.
No, it definitely was a big deal, yeah. Now, he also was really good at connecting with people with special needs and disabilities and people who were suffering from various things. He had quite a few of them on the show. In 1975, he took a break from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He felt that he had done enough episodes, plenty of episodes, enough to have reruns anyway. And he had been really busy with every aspect of the show. I mean, he was starring in it, he was writing it, he was editing it, he was doing most of the puppet work. All the puppets in the neighborhood of make-believe, that's what was all his stuff.
I spent my entire childhood imitating that cat. Meow, 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 meow.
You're still doing it.
I still do that. Meow, 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 because she spoke my language.
Yeah, of course.
Meow, 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 meow. I remember that distinctly going, somebody gets me.
Yeah, exactly. No, and he had that way of getting to everybody.
Yeah.
He also wrote and performed all the music on the show. Like all that fancy piano work, that's all him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was brilliant. He was a really good pianist. I mean, that's what he studied in his undergrad, was music. So he took a break in 1975. He had been wanting to do adult programming. But sadly, his way of trying to connect to adults, he was trying to connect to them like he connected to kids.
Not the same.
Doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
So he ended up coming back to the neighborhood in 1979. And the 80s, which is when I watched him when I was a kid, that was really the height of the Mr. Rogers show.
Okay.
It's in the 80s that he tackles things like divorce, missing children. He had an entire week-long episode of dealing with death and dying. He also had, I think there was an entire episode on handling the deaths of a pet. Right?
That's right. And he also had a series. I had bought my kids little books on how to deal with these subjects.
Yeah.
How to deal with an older child when a baby comes along. And I remember a series of those books on how to handle certain subject matter.
Yeah, he did it all, yeah. He really grew into his public role, I think. He would as a trusted figure, with every major event that came along, from the Challenger explosion to 9/11, he would tackle it. Actually, the 9/11 message was after he retired from doing the show in 2001. He was there to see that children's and adults got through it. Now, he never claimed that any of his episodes were any good. He never believed that this show was a real hit. With the exception, he was particularly proud of his visit with Coco the gorilla.
Okay.
There, he was able to connect with an animal on a personal level. And that was a whole... that was a really powerful episode. He's very...
That was the gorilla with the sign language?
Yeah. You could see him and that gorilla. I mean, they're just like the best of friends. Like, he immediately... The gorilla knew I could trust Fred Rogers.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
They know.
Now, he had become so well known by the 1980s that, of course, there would be parodies, right? There's Eddie Murphy...
Where did Charlie stop in Mr. Robinson's neighborhood? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I used to watch that. CILL, my landlord. I don't think the trolley gonna stop in Mr. Robinson's neighborhood. It was hysterical.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch those later.
There was also Second City did the Battle of the PBS Stars with a fake Mr. Rogers and a fake Julia Childs.
Yeah, and they
wrestling out.
Yeah.
But Fred felt like a lot of those things were kind of just mean. He felt like... and
I always thought, once they make fun of you on Saturday Night Live, that's like the pinnacle of success.
But he didn't care about success.
But once they make fun of you, that's it.
Yeah,
That's the height.
You'd think, but I think he was just more concerned that his message was getting across to children. That's all he cared about.
And to Eddie Murphy. And to me.
Now, there is a tiny bit of controversy in his life because Francois Clemens, the police officer in his show, the black actor and very talented singer, he was actually gay. And he had been seen in Pittsburgh gay bars. Fred Rogers actually confronted him on that in 1969.
All right, big thing. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, he was like, you can't go to those gay bars. You can't be openly gay on this show because we'll lose our sponsors.
Oh.
So this was actually kind of like a moment where he would change his ideas on that. Like, he would eventually grow. But in the 60s and early 70s... Clemens actually went along. Clemens realized, oh, you're right. And he actually got married. But the marriage did not last long. It wasn't.
I wonder why.
Yeah. It wasn't until much later that Fred Rogers eventually understood and came around to supporting the LGBTQ community. Now, a lot of people believe that Fred himself was gay, right?
Really?
So yesterday when I was having lunch with Mom, and she's like, what are you guys doing podcast about this week? I was like, oh, Fred Rogers. And then she's like, wasn't he gay? I'm like, no, Mom. No, he wasn't gay. I was like, he was just very loving and very understanding, and he cared. And she's like, oh, I always thought he was gay. I'm like, no, he was married, happily married.
Yeah.
He was, among other things, he was also a vegetarian.
Oh, you know how they are.
I know how they are. He actually was the co-owner of Vegetarian Times. Are you a subscriber?
Nope.
Oh, okay. He said that his reason behind it was, he said, I couldn't eat anything that had a mother.
A face.
That had a mother.
I had a mother.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He was given 43 honorary degrees during the course of his life. He was a registered Republican, but he never spoke out about politics.
Okay.
He did not smoke. He did not drink. And no, he did not have tattoos.
That's so funny.
The rumors about the sweaters and
long sleeve sweaters, one for every kill. Who knows? That's how rumors get started, folks.
Now, there were plenty of naysayers out there. There's always going to be. Especially in recent years, actually.
People who don't like advocates of children's education?
Well, actually, because people claimed that since he told kids they were special, that they could do anything, because he said these things, this, quote, messed up a generation of entitled adults.
Oh, okay, so it's his fault.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew I needed to blame somebody for children being entitled. Because, when you're watching public television and a grown-up says, you are special, you are unique, you can be anything you want to be.
Yeah.
You can live your dreams and be anything you want to be. Mm-hmm. That always, doesn't encourage a child and makes them a narcissistic asshole.
Apparently.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what some people believe.
Yeah, of course they do. And Ernie and Bert are gay lovers, and and Barney is magical, and he's a demon. I can't. Just stop.
Well, one of my lines that I like from him, he said, "You don't have to do anything sensational for people to love you." That's a line from his last commencement speech that he gave.
And that makes people grow up to be ew?
I don't know.
Okay. There's one in every bunch.
It's a message of love and self-love. And we need more messages like that again.
No, you don't. Why would you want to teach children love thy neighbor and you are unique and you are kind and you can do kind things?
No.
Children don't need that message, right?
No.
Yeah, okay. All right. Wow. You know what? It doesn't surprise me. Because every time you put out something good, there's always going to be somebody.
Yeah, there's always going to be.
Yeah, there's always going to be that guy.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy, breathers. Okay, don't be that guy. Don't be hating on Mr. Rogers.
Exactly. What the fuck?
Jeez.
I said I wasn't going to drop the F-bomb. All right, now
don't do that.
Now in 2002, he finally went to see a doctor about his severe stomach problems that he had been having.
Oh.
And he was diagnosed with stomach cancer at the age of 73. He underwent surgery in January 2003, but sadly died on February 27th, 2003, at the age of 74 in his home in Pittsburgh, where he was with his wife, Joanna, at the time. There was actually, get this, there was actually a protest of people across the street from his funeral.
Protesting him?
Protesting him. They were holding up signs that said Fred Rogers is going to hell.
Oh, okay.
That God hates fags, not because he was gay, but because he'd shown tolerance.
Naturally.
To everyone.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Once again.
Yeah.
Once again, there you go.
Which,
don't be, the moral of the story is don't be kind and tolerant. Be a jerk.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Now, if you haven't seen the 2018 documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor, you need to see it.
That was with Tom Hanks, right?
No.
Oh, no.
Won't You Be My Neighbor is
that was the other one. That was the one with the clips of him.
Yeah.
I saw that one. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
That, it'll make you cry.
That was adorable.
Yeah, it was such a good one. We saw it in a packed the theater was packed. Packed. I could not believe how many people came out to see a Fred Rogers documentary. And it was actually one of the most successful documentaries ever made, I understand. Yeah. But yes, in 2019, Tom Hanks played Fred Rogers in the film A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. There's actually, Tom Hanks and Fred Rogers are distantly related. They're like sixth cousins. So, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding. Six cousins.
You wonder if Tom Hanks knew that when he portrayed him in the film.
That's a good question.
Tom Hanks
does an excellent job.
Portray anybody. I love Tom Hanks.
Anybody.
He can play anybody. He is.
I love Tom Hanks.
Amazing.
It's one of the few living people that I'm like, yeah, you're cool.
He's amazing. Yeah, but that was a very sweet film.
Yeah, that was really well done. Anyway, the moral to our story is
be more like Fred Rogers.
Be more like Fred.
Don't be a jerk.
Yeah,
be a neighbor. Do the right thing.
People are more likely to snap and then be nice,
be kind.
You should take a deep breath.
Think before you speak.
Endeavor to be more like Fred.
Be original.
Just be fucking nice.
Be kind.
Yeah.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
And if you're going to be a jerk, you can't be our neighbor.
That's right. Don't be moving in next to us.
Don't move near me.
No. Jesus.
We need more Fred Rogers.
We really do.
I know he said something. I don't know if it was something his mother had said to him. Something along the lines that when you're in trouble, always find.
Oh, look for the helpers.
Find the helpers.
He said, look for the helpers. Yeah.
Go and find the helpers.
Yeah.
And I remember either hearing him say that or reading that somewhere. Go find the helpers.
Yeah.
And there are always these helpers that if God forbid something happens, they are the ones that spring into action and do the right thing.
That's right.
And those are the ones you need to go to if you can't be one, but be one if you can. And be more like Fred Rogers.
Be more like Fred. God. So that's kind of an uplifting.
No, it is. He was really a great guy.
He was, yeah.
That was good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we took a break from crazy.
The creepy and the weird. And
the non-normal. To do something normal. Nice change, especially right there. Nice change.
Right, good. We're both kind of feeling
Yeah. We need something happy.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Would you be my neighbor?
Yes. Shannon, I will be your neighbor.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Well, bring your dog.
Java will be my neighbor.
I want Java to be my neighbor.
Java will be your neighbor.
Okay.
Do the right thing. Stay on the good side.
Stay on this side of the earth as long as you can, anyway.
Yeah, really. And be nice while you're here. From cradle to grave, it's a very short trip. So you decide how you want to go through it and who you want to touch and in which way. You have that much control. So
exactly.
Don't be a jerk.
On that note.
All right.
Thank you for joining
listening.
us.
Yeah, here we go again on another fabulous
episode
of All my favorite people are dead. See you, breathers.
Bye.
Summer smart and brave, well it doesn't really matter, we all end up in the grave. All my favorite people are dead.